live on your tablet, phone, and the KUTV app. This is 2 News Live.
Thanks for joining us on 2 News Live. Great to be with you here for a Thursday edition. It is November 16th. A lot to go in depth on tonight. We're going to kick things off with Ruby Franke, the latest, and some body camera video that we have to share with you here at 2 News. Before we get there, though, we got to take a look at what's making headlines right now on KUTV.com. A woman is in custody after causing a serious crash in Salt Lake City. Police say they spotted the woman driving a truck with a stolen license plate near 550 East 4th South. They say she ran into another car, drove into another car less than a block away, which sent a 50-year-old man to the hospital. Also in our headlines tonight, new developments in the aggravated sexual assault case from 2006. Salt Lake County District Attorney Sim Gill filing new charges against an alleged co-defendant who has been unknown for the past 17 years. I think you got to go to our website for some more specs on this one. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints holding the funeral for President M. Russell Ballard, which is coming up tomorrow, 11 a.m. at the Tabernacle on Temple Square. We will be broadcasting the entire funeral on KUTV, also streaming it online, KUTV.com, our YouTube page, and on Facebook. Happening less than 30 minutes ago, Macy's saying they will unveil this year's candy windows at City Creek downtown. Some video showing what past displays have looked like. Macy's says 4 local artists made this year's versions. As we go in depth tonight, you can always get in touch with us during the show. Use the hashtag 2NewsLive to join the conversation. You can always find us on the socials too, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Send a DM anywhere to weigh in. Let's go in depth on Ruby Franke, the YouTuber who had millions of subscribers before the platform pulled her channel. This came after she and her business partner, Jody Hildebrandt, were arrested on child abuse charges in late August. We obtained new video here at 2 News showing Ruby Franke being pulled over in a traffic stop just days before her arrest.
Hello. You know how fast you're going right there? No. Okay. Got you going 57 and a 35. I'll be back real quick. Okay, here's your info back. A citation for speed. Got you going 57 and a 35. I wrote you down for a 50. You have 5 days and no more than 14 to contact Santa Clara Justice Court. It shows right there in that little box right there. And then just has a phone number right there. Okay, any questions for me? No. Okay, just slow down for me, please. Thank you.
So this happened on August 25th, just after 4 in the morning. While the video doesn't show a whole lot, it does show 2 other people in the car with her early that morning. Their faces were redacted, but they do appear to be either children or young adults. Franke's traffic case was dismissed in Santa Clara Justice Court earlier this week. So where do things stand now on the child abuse case? Both Franke and Jody Hildebrandt remain in custody in Purgatory Correctional Facility in Hurricane. No new court filings have been put forth, no new hearings scheduled. Of course, we'll keep an eye on this one for you, as we have been for months now. You can find all of our coverage on our 8 passengers case on our YouTube channel. KUTV 2 News on YouTube, click the 8 passengers playlist. As always, if you're watching the coverage and have a connection to any of these cases, we would love to hear from you and learn a little bit more information about what you know. blschnee@sbgtv.com. It's easier, just send a message on any of the social platforms. I would love to connect with you. So let's go in depth now on our forecast. We do it every night here at 2 News Live.
Yeah, not a bad little storm overnight and this morning. Anywhere between a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch of rain for most of northern Utah. But even southern Utah got a little bit of rain last night, about a 1/4 inch. So that's good news. The thing with this storm, though, Brian, it was a mild storm. So normally we would see a lot of snow in the mountains, but because it was that heavy, wet snow, didn't really accumulate very much, about 1 to 4 inches at some of our ski resorts.
Helpful for the water situation, at least. I mean, you always like at least a little bit, but
that's right.
I think at this point of the year, we're trying to see some change.
Yeah, some accumulation. But the good news is that we have a weekend storm.
Don't go yet. I just want to say,
okay,
you got the pass today. You got the tires.
Oh, I did.
You're ready for what this weekend may start to indicate here.
There you go. Now, and I'm going to tell you, the tire place was chaotic.
Jamming. Let's take a look at that
busy.
forecast.
Yeah, people are getting ready. It is snow tire season. Start thinking about doing it here in the next couple weeks. You want to be safe. Temperatures tonight, 30s and 40s. No snow, so you're going to be just fine as you head out the door. We're still set on sterling shot. Here we go. We'll be in the low 40s along the Wasatch Front, and we'll be below freezing, a little bit colder in the mountain valleys and across southwestern Wyoming. Now, tomorrow for your Friday, it looks fantastic. We're going to have lots of sunshine. If you have any plans, really pleasant out there. Temperatures a few degrees above normal. We're going to be close to 60 here along the Wasatch Front, low 60s in central Utah, and upper 60s down in St. George. Then the weekend happens. I'm tracking 2 storms. This is that same storm that is out in the Pacific. It really hasn't moved. It sent out a little wave, and that's why we got some rain last night and this morning, but eventually it's going to be pushing in. Now, it doesn't look very impressive. We're going to see a little bit of rain move in on Saturday, especially for southern Utah, but some of this moisture might actually meet up with another storm for Sunday. So more on that in just a moment. As we head into your Friday, as I mentioned, it's going to be sunny. But now, as we head into the first half of your weekend, you're going to notice the cloud cover increasing Saturday morning. A few light showers across southwestern Utah, and some of these showers will try to make it into northern Utah, but they're going to be very isolated, light, and the best chance will be south of Salt Lake. But again, it's central and southern Utah where we might see a few showers. Might linger into Saturday night, but I think if you're going to the big game down in Provo, it's a morning game, it's early, it's mainly going to be cloudy. There might be a few sprinkles towards the end of the game, but I would bring a poncho just in case, but probably going to stay dry, so that's good news for all those going down to the game. We'll be in the 40s and 50s, so grab a coat. This is the storm, though, that's going to bring in cooler temperatures and hopefully some accumulating snowfall in the mountains where it could really pile up, and we might even see a few snowflakes here in the valleys. So here we are Saturday. There's those light showers that I mentioned, especially in central and southern Utah. And then the storm arrives Sunday morning. That's when we're going to have widespread rain in northern and central Utah. Snow level starting right around 7,500 feet, but they could come down to benches, valleys. We'll see. It's going to be close, especially south of Salt Lake as the storm continues to push into central, southern, and eastern Utah, and it might even linger into Sunday night. And then hopefully it'll be out of here by Monday, so you don't have to worry about any snow for your commute. St. George, a little bit of rain at times on Saturday and Sunday. We'll go from the 60s to the 50s, and we'll stay in the 50s early next week. A little windy down in St. George Sunday and Monday, but Thanksgiving looks nice, 60s and partly cloudy. Salt Lake, we're sunny tomorrow, and then here comes the cloud cover for Saturday. Again, maybe a few sprinkles. Rain maybe changing to snow later in the day on Sunday. Temperatures dropping. Here we go. Low 40s on Monday. Brr. And then as we head into Thanksgiving, temperatures, it's a slow rebound, but not bad. We'll be near average, approaching 50 degrees on Thanksgiving. There might be a storm, though, for Black Friday. So that's something that we're watching.
Don't go any further than this weekend. Are we allowed to place a wager here on 2 News Live pertaining to football? Is that okay?
Yeah. Sure. Are you picking BYU?
No, I'm not going to. I'm smart.
Or are you taking the spread?
I'm smart. I think I'm taking the spread.
Yeah.
The Cougars haven't been obviously what we've seen in Cougars of the past, and there's been a big. Even David James put this question up on his Twitter the other day, and of course it just gets blown up. What's wrong with the Cougars? Why are the Cougars doing what they do? And right. I don't have the answers, but I know that they're not the same quality of the football team right now that they were over the last few years. And obviously, when you lose, starting quarterback from the New York Jets, I think that
they're in the Big 12 now.
A little bit.
They're in the Big 12 now, and they're not used to be playing all these teams towards the end of their season.
They're
not used to it.
Listen, I'm telling you, this weekend is a short-lived matchup. This is probably not going to happen for years.
I'm going to tell you, Brian, as a big Oklahoma Sooners fan, every time we play someone, they always play the best. They always, this is their Super Bowl. They play up. So I know that's a big spread, but I see BYU, competing maybe for a quarter or two.
Oh man!
Hey, I'm being honest.
No, you're good with it.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. We will talk about this more tomorrow. Remember to download our 2 News weather app to know about the changes in your neighborhood. You can get updated forecasts, live radar right on your phone. The app is free to download. Maybe we'll talk about this at the end of the show. We'll have some time. So they're called school guardians. It's an idea that's gaining momentum in Utah since we first reported on it Tuesday. A bill allowing guardians is receiving a lot of support from lawmakers. So now we're hearing from the public for the first time. Many people supportive of the idea, but others actually have a lot of questions. Paul Nelson's been fielding both sides of the conversation. Paul, what are some of the questions from folks now that this has been put out? You've done a number of stories on this. They talked about it on Capitol Hill. I see you're still up there tonight. So what are people saying?
Well, actually, the opinions about these kinds of things are very evenly split. KUTV put out a poll on social, and basically it showed that everybody was kind of evenly split along the way of whether or not they like the idea, or whether or not they'd have just an actual school resource officer and just leave it at that, or what. But basically the questions surround things like transparency. For example, these guardians would be already existing school employees who already work at that particular school. They would get a police training on things like weapons, things like de-escalation, things of that sort. And if their identities are kept a secret, kind of like an air marshal, and if there is an emergency and there's no school resource officer on hand, that's when the guardian would actually kind of kick it into gear and kind of jump in to protect the students. And so some of the concerns that people were having were about transparency, about not knowing who those guardians are. There were some people that were saying they just don't like the idea of not knowing parents not knowing who exactly has a weapon on school grounds. However, other people are saying teachers are already allowed to carry weapons without the public knowing. And one school resource officer that I spoke with said he loves the idea. He says it's an added layer of protection for the students, just in case the school resource officer can't be there at that time. So still a lot of questions, but the bill isn't totally finished yet. It's still being worked on.
Being worked on and has a long way to go, of course, because we're not in session right now and things are not going to move forward. When you say it's being worked on, are there certain specs that they're trying to work in? Are they working on terminology? Are they working on specifics? Where are they making changes as far as you understand?
From what I was told by Representative Ryan Wilcox, he says that they are open to public comment. They still want people to chime in when they can. There's going to be another public comment session happening in January, but they say, hey, if there's something that that you believe that the lawmakers have missed, they want you to kind of point that out to them. And they are willing to talk about people who might have concerns about transparency and about the vetting process. That was another thing that some people were kind of worried about. Matter of fact, Senator Kathleen Reeby, during the recent committee hearing, said that she's a parent herself and she knows of a couple people at the school where her children attend that she wouldn't want them to be a guardian. So she had some questions about the vetting process too. However, Wilcox says the vetting process would be exactly like what happens with police officers too. They have to go through the background checks, they have to go through the over 80 hours of training, and matter of fact, a lot of school workers already have to do that in order to work in a school in the first place.
Paul Nelson, been covering this over the last few days. As always, Paul, we appreciate the update and the new perspective on something that surely would be a talker over the next few months. Of course, we want to hear from you at home. What do you think about the proposal to add armed volunteers to schools in Utah? Scan that QR code on your screen right now to weigh in. Paul was just talking about this poll, and it is pretty split. Look at those numbers. It's very rare that we see these polls with all of those numbers in the mid 20%. That means about a quarter of you are feeling a certain way. So, leading the way by a percentage point, I'd prefer armed resource officers. Second closest, it's a good idea. So both of you are in the same category. So more than 50% of you are saying, I think this is good. I want the armed resource officer of sort, but this is where things come into play between the volunteer and the resource officer. 24% of you saying, I don't like the idea. 23% only saying if they receive proper training. So basically, most of you are saying you like the idea of some sort of armed volunteer or SRO. 24% saying, no thanks. 2 News has been closely tracking the housing market and the incentives some builders are using to attract buyers. The market has slowed a bit due to higher mortgage rates, and the need for housing still as strong as ever. Daniel Woodruff, the one to dive into this for us, he's got the answers. Daniel, where are things right now in terms of the market and mortgage rates? Any improvement?
Well, mortgage rates really, depending on the day you look at them or the billboards you're seeing, they're still in the 7s. At least they're not as high as they used to be when they were near 8%. But right now we're talking with builders who are talking about incentives, ways that they are bringing buyers into the market. I talked today with Goldcrest Homes, which is based in Utah here in the Wasatch Front, and they said that they are offering 2 particular incentives to buyers if they come and buy a home with them. One of them, they said they will pay the buyer's mortgage payments for the first 6 months. So basically, if you bought a new house right now, 6 months later, you'd start paying mortgage payments in the summertime sometime. The other thing they're doing is they're basically doing a trade-in. So the buyer's current house, they can basically sell to the builder, and the builder will close on both of those at the same time. And they told me they like to think of it as kind of like buying a new vehicle and trading in your old one. You're trading in your house. So those are two incentives we're seeing from that builder. We've also been reporting here about other incentives like buying down the mortgage rates and other things to try to keep buyers coming at a time when they otherwise might not, because these rates are just so high.
Daniel, I feel like you're the right guy to ask here because the inventory is always very interesting as people continue to build more. Are they building single-family homes? Is the model the townhome move right now? What are builders looking to put out there for people to purchase?
Well, as I've talked with analysts, they've told me that certainly single-family homes are being built less right now because there just isn't as much of a market for people to be able to afford them. But interestingly, a recent audit came out just this week from the Utah legislature, and the legislative auditors said that Utah desperately needs to keep up with the growth that it's having, that it needs to build about 28,000 units per year just to maintain the people that are moving here or that are being born. And they said that Utah's time to really put in place a strong housing strategy is quickly running out. And so whether it is a townhome or a condo or a single family, they said Utah needs a lot more housing units. And they specifically, the auditors said that they feel that Utah's cities need to allow for higher density housing if there's any hope of keeping up with the growth.
Always on top of it, and I always appreciate the insight. A lot of knowledge there and a lot of information on just one single topic, and I know you will join us again here on 2 News Live to do it again. Thank you, Daniel. If you want more information on the housing market, you can find our past reporting, including a lot of Daniel's reports, specifically home prices, mortgage rates, evictions filings. I have a lot of the same questions you do. I'm always looking at these things to say, what is the market like? Can I afford to move? I mean, Chase, you and I have been talking about it for months. How do we keep up with the mortgage rates and the dollar when my pocket's not getting any bigger here unless we got to find a creative way?
You're always thinking, okay, did I buy my house several years ago? Now it's like, okay, I might be stuck.
Yeah.
Is this my forever house? These interest rates, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it, but I think the incentives are very interesting.
That's true.
I think at the point of my life, I would prefer the single family home. I think it's wonderful to have your own space. Yep. Can only deal with so much on the wall here. The neighbors doing their thing. All right, so just quickly, because I realized I won't see you tomorrow at 5:30, because I think you will be out and about here in the 4 o'clock hour. Do you care to share with the loyalists here where you'll be?
We are going to be at Park City Mountain for opening day. We are going to hit the slopes. And by slopes, there's probably only going to be 1 or 2 runs out there.
A slope or 2?
Yeah, 1 or 2. And I'm going to have a special guest for people by the end of the show. So stay tuned for that. So we're going to have fun with this one.
Olympian?
I mean, no.
Okay, I tried.
Okay.
All right.
In my eyes, he could be an Olympian.
Okay. Fair. I think I know who you're talking about. Thanks for watching 2 News Live. Tune in tomorrow, KUTV 2 News at 4 to see where this guy is at with his special guests. We will be back tomorrow in studio, I believe, for 2 News Live at 5:30.
You got Trent tomorrow.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
I know. Well, we keep things, interesting here. Trent keeps things interesting.
Don't mess it up, Trent.
Big crowds tomorrow for Trent Parker. See you tomorrow.